Welcome back in, everybody, to Birds 365, a Tuesday edition of Birds 365. It is game week here. Jeff Kerr now joins the show from CBS Sports. Jeff, it's game week, man. We've been doing this all off season. Good to finally have football on our radar. How you doing on this Tuesday morning, brother?
It's game week. For me, it's 2 days till one of the games I'm looking forward to, which means nothing for this show, but Ravens Chiefs. And
It's going to be a hell of a game, Jeff.
yeah, exactly. And you know what? It was funny. So I don't watch a lot of the national shows, but before I came on here, I happened to somehow tune in to Get Up. I guess ESPN was the last thing on my TV last night. And Andrew Hawkins said the greatest thing I think I've ever heard. What does a win mean for Lamar Jackson over Patrick Mahomes? And he just goes absolutely nothing and just stops. I'm like, that's the greatest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah,
Well,
what
he's
is
right,
it? What about? Well, he's right. I mean,
Yeah, he is right.
I mean, all games are important in the NFL because there's so few of them. But I mean, at the end of the day, Lamar's done everything he needs to do in the regular season. He's just got to perform in the playoffs and get the Ravens over the hump. He's a two-time MVP.
Yeah, exactly.
Who cares?
It feels like the Ravens, the Eagles, the Bills, the Bengals, they're in that category where they're good enough to win the Super Bowl. They just got to do it, and that's going to be their what's the word I'm looking for here, John? Their deterrent if they don't do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, it is kind of Super Bowl or bust, which is always unfair to a certain number of teams, Kansas City being most notably. I mean, it's to expect anybody to win the Super Bowl on any year is probably a little bit too much, more understandable for Kansas City than anybody else. But look, that's what you shoot for, to have an opportunity. And I think that's what the Eagles have. So, on the field, I think it all, and we always, I hope people know the caveat is always health, but you always have to remind people because injuries can derail anyone at the wrong position. But if everything goes relatively well from an attrition standpoint on the field, the Eagles look like they should be a significant contender. However, off the field, a lot of moving parts, a lot of things we have to see how everything fits together. Has everybody kind of forgotten that as we get closer to Friday night?
I think so. So I had to do it's not my specific preview, but I round up all the guys at CBS Sports and we do NFC preview editions. And I feel like Eagles fans could be in for a reality check with what they're picking compared to maybe what you and I see every day, John. And a lot of them mentioned the off-field stuff. Nick Sirianni kind of competing for his job here a bit. They delegated that. Mike Sielski wrote a really good column in the Inquirer about that today. How will Kellen Moore work? Is this defense any better with Vic Fangio? Can you trust two rookie cornerbacks? Is the pass rush good enough? Is the Jason Kelsey Fletcher Cox effect real? I mean, we're going to find out. Maybe not Friday, but we're definitely going to find out this first month of the season.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, the Kelsey stuff, because of what Jalen recently said, and he got asked about it over the weekend to explain what he said on WIP. But are people starting to think that Jason Kelsey was a problem? Because he was not a problem.
Not even in the slightest. It's kind of funny how that became. I mean, was Fletcher Cox a problem? I don't think so.
No.
But I mean, if the problems on this team, if we want to really be specific on here, we're not Jason Kelsey and Fletcher Cox. But it was. I still can't explain last year, and I've talked to at least 15 different players about last year.
They can't explain it. That's why you can't explain it, because the organization can't explain it. The players can't explain it. And then there's the fact that, it's difficult to point out some of the issues. Lane Johnson, I was talking to Lane in the locker room the other day, and I think a lot of people, because I got a lot of, I don't know if you've got this yet, but the Eagles picked up Jahan Dotson. So they have so many playmakers now, you can't blitz them. And I'm like, they're going to get blitzed. They're going to get blitzed. And Lane, I'm glad Lane, very honest, as you know, he's like, until we prove we can stop it, they're going to blitz from the buses because they couldn't handle it last year, and that's what's coming. And Lane knows it. The Eagles know it. Everybody knows it, and we're going to see. We're going to see. That's why Kellen Moore's here, to be honest.
You know what, John? That's why Saquon Barkley's here. He's a really good pass protecting running back, and you pay him a lot of money to do other things, but that's part of the package. And Saquon has openly admitted he's gotten so much better at that. And people around the league have said, "Hey, this ain't the Saquon Barkley that pass protected his first couple of years in the league." It's something you're not going to notice, but you will notice when Jalen flicks that ball and AJ Brown's wide open across the middle of the field.
Yeah, and to the Kellen Moore effect is, I think a lot of people focus on the motion and the play design. He's here to teach Jalen Hurts how to handle the blitz. That's job description number one. All the other stuff is window dressing. And can he do it? And we're going to see, and we're going to see early probably, even though Green Bay is not there's a lot of uncertainty, but they're not expected to be a huge blitzing team. So if you think about the Giants with Wink Martindale, if you think about the Vikings with Brian Flores, they're not to that level. Todd Bowles with Tampa Bay, they're not to that level. But I think they're going to up it and try to get, guys like Preston Smith loose by throwing some looks, but we don't know a lot about Jeff Hadley. So uncertainty is what Kellen Moore described it as when you're talking about the Packers defense versus the Eagles offense. Defensively, Vic was like, well, they know what we're going to do. We know what they're going to do. Who's got the advantage there?
I would say the Eagles week one, honestly. I really feel this is going to be a shootout of sorts just because, look, and I'll say what, I won't say the name, but I'll just say what one of my CBS Sports coworkers said about the Packers. You're taking a big swing here going with Jeff Hadley, a college coach, to be your defensive coordinator. And
I don't like it.
Yeah. And we've seen like this doesn't work. And you're going up against Kellen Moore, who's one of the more respected offensive coordinators in the league. With that personnel, Packers fans may be, there's no bridge in Green Bay, but they may be jumping off the top of Lambeau Field.
Well, the only thing I would say, Jeff, is they for years ran the Fangio scheme, and it was a disaster with Joe Barry. That was like Ed Donatel, Vic Fangio scheme. Not the same thing. So they had to change. It's similar to here. It can't be worse. So I look at it from that perspective. It's got to be a little bit better. But then I look at the rolling Eric Wilson out there as middle linebacker. I don't think that's going to be possible.
I like Eric Stokes as a player, but you can pick on him too at cornerback.
Well, you better, because Jair Alexander's on the other side until he gets hurt, which might be.
And also, they got two new safeties too, and I guarantee you, Saquon Barkley is giving the Eagles every tip how to kind of take Xavier McKinney out of the game.
Oh, well, the Eagles know everything about Xavier McKinney. The Eagles wanted Xavier
they wanted
McKinney badly. They want him, and they just got priced out of the market. Green Bay went way. They paid him a lot of money. I forget the exact contract. The Eagles really wanted Xavier.
Did he get $17 million a year? I think that sounds right.
Somewhere in that range, yeah. And that was a little bit too steep, but they really wanted him. They love him as a player. And they know everything about Xavier McKinney. I'm not worried about that as far as, from playing him so much, from valuing him so much and trying to get him here. I'm worried about him. He's a good player.
He's a really good player. But you know what? Javon Bullard's a good player. They've improved at safety tremendously, but how is this going to work in game one?
Yeah, it's got to be better. It's got to be better than Joe Barry. I said the same thing with the Eagles defense, right? They were so bad last year. It's got to be better. And Vic's going to I've said it pretty consistently. Zander knows they're going to be middle of the road. I think the floor, 16, 18, somewhere in that range, which I think is all you need. If the Eagles offense lives up to expectations.
But
I don't know. I get what you're saying. I agree. I would not have hired Halfley, but he's got to be better than Joe Barry. He's got to be better.
Yeah,
he can't be worse.
It's a low bar, right? It's just kind of like the
Yeah.
Eagles were. I know you got Vic Fangio, the architect here, but anybody you would have hired would have been better than the situation they had last year.
Yeah, no doubt. Jeff, what's your favorite matchup coming into this game from, Packers versus Eagles? Is it that, deep Packers wide receiver group versus the new secondary? Is it Kellen Moore versus Jeff Halfley and the Eagles offense versus those guys? What are you looking at as a good battle, a good position battle here in the game?
Oh, I don't know, good position battle, but I do know a mismatch. And John mentioned it already. Target Eric Wilson as much as you can.
Yeah, he's starting over. Who's the guy that everybody wanted the Eagles to
Cooper.
draft? Edgerrin Cooper.
Yeah. I don't get it because I love the Edgerrin Cooper pick. Oh, by the way, Zander, the Packers don't know who their right guard's going to be. They might rotate guards. I'm like,
they know. They know. They're just like the Eagles.
Yeah.
They're nonsense. I joked about that in the opening, Jeff. It's like, well, you got to worry about the wildfires. You got to worry about the political climate in Brazil, but nobody knows the right guards on either team. We know who the right guard. The right guard's Mekhi Becton, Nick Sirianni. Just freaking admit it. And the Packers.
He's with the first team all the time.
Yeah. It's so absurd, the competitive advantage nonsense. And the Packers, Matt LaFleur knows who his right guard is. And nobody cares.
Yeah, whoever it is, got to block Jalen Carter.
Get ready to block Jalen Carter. Doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah. But by the way, that's if I have to make a pick for Friday night, like if I not even a prediction, I think Friday night could be a night Jalen Carter gets multiple sacks. I think he's going to make a statement on Friday.
Well, he's a great player. It's just a matter of how great, and how much can he play, and is the 50th snap going to be as good as the first 5? That part of it's real. That's the only thing I'm worried about with Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, and it's been talked about all off season. Can they play as much as they need to play?
Doesn't it feel like we're going to see a lot of Thomas Booker on Friday, or at least some of Thomas Booker?
Well, he's going to be the 4th defensive tackle. I predicted that, by the way. I'm going to pat myself on the back because he can play nose tackle. But Vic also said, if you go back to Vic's quote, he's like, I think we're going to be a nickel most of the time. So I don't know if he's going to play a lot, but he's going to be the guy. So Vic kind of contradicted himself because he corrected me when I said 11 personnel. The Packers are going to play a lot of 11. And he said they play 12, about 50-50 on early downs. But earlier when he was talking about Booker, he said, but the game will take care of that because we're going to be a nickel a lot. So which is it? Are they going to be a nickel with 2 tight ends? Because that's not going to work out well for the Eagles.
No, and they have 2 tight ends that are
they have 2 good
football
ones.
Players. Yeah,
they have 2 good ones. So I get his perspective. They have 2 good tight ends, but they got like 5 guys who can make plays at receiver. They're crazy deep at receiver.
They're crazy young there too. It's their 4th receiver could be a number 2 receiver on a lot of football teams.
Yeah, and they're not big names, but
they're big players.
Yeah, they're all good. They can all make plays. I'm interested to see how Quinyon Mitchell and Isaiah Rodgers hold up against that group. And you might have some problems, at least early on. I think it's got to be about the Eagles' pass rush because the Packers' offensive line is not as good as it typically is.
They don't have David Bakhtiari anymore. Rasheed Walker's the left tackle now.
Yeah, that's not good.
Elton Jenkins back at guards can help them. Yeah,
he's a good player.
Yeah, but they don't have Runyon either. He's gone.
No, he's gone. Zach Tom, the right tackle's
Zach
okay.
Tom. He's fine. Yeah.
I'm
he's
not
no
a big
Lane
Josh
Johnson.
Myers guy. He's their center. And then Jordan Morgan and Sean Ryan are the right guards, and they're doesn't matter who it is.
You know what, John? Like a lot of people thought I was like doing the haterade thing because the Eagles play the Packers this week, and they were my pick for most overrated team. But like I said, we talk about all these guys and everything, but is Jordan Love going to be upright the whole season?
Well, and that's my second part. I think you do have I've seen a lot of young quarterbacks who have some early success and kind of think they have it figured out. And, the NFL, the old adage is it's a copycat league, and it is, but it's a slow moving copycat league. So everybody who's on Green Bay's schedule has spent all off season looking at what made Jordan Love effective. You saw it with Jalen Hurts during his breakout year. And then everybody came back and did some things differently, and it became more difficult. I think you're going to see the same thing with Jordan Love. How does he handle that?
I always like to dig into the history books here because they're hyping up that 8-game stretch. Fine, Nick Foles had an 8-game stretch like that. They played him different in 2014. Yeah, the Eagles won games, but Nick Foles wasn't 27-2. Nick Foles anymore.
By the way, my buddy Rob Motti pointed this out since we went down the Nick Foles tangent. Nick Foles loved the fact that Jason Kelce handled protection calls because he didn't want to do it, and that's how he took off. And there's a direct correlation from Nick Foles in Philadelphia versus Nick Foles everywhere else, and that's because he had more responsibility everywhere else, and he wasn't good at it.
Yeah,
and this year was taken off and here in Philadelphia was taken off his plate. Short sample sizes, but obviously Nick is very public about being thrilled that he didn't have to do it here in Philadelphia.
That's what confused me about Jalen's comments about impeding his progress or whatever. I'm like, look, I was always taught if you can have somebody to do something that you don't have to do at a very high level and it helps you, you do it. So I don't.
Well, no, I don't agree with that. I'm not going to go that far. I mean, Nick Foles was honest with himself and said, I'm not good at this. So this guy's great at it. So let's hit
Carson wasn't good at it either.
No. Most young quarterbacks are bad at it. Now, you should always be striving to find Peyton Manning.
And we know Jalen does that. If Jalen can figure out how to be the world's perfect quarterback, he's going to find a way to do
it. He wants to do it. He craves it. And he's very honest about it, and he wants to do it. Can he do it? We're going to see.
Last time he did it was when he was in Lincoln Riley's system.
But well, come on, no, that nonsense. That's the whole problem. The whole problem with young quarterbacks is they're not taught at the college level to do any of that with any substance. And then they get to the pros and it's very difficult. It's a big learning curve. Right at the same time that you don't have a lot of practice time like you used to have. So it's very limited time. And so most coaches around the league have more towards what the Eagles did, try to take stuff off the quarterback's plate to accentuate what they do well. But there's certain guys, Tom Brady being number one, Peyton Manning. If you find one of those guys, you better ride them.
You're going to win a lot of football games for a lot of years too.
Yeah. And can Jalen wants to be that type of quarterback? Can he get to be that type of quarterback? We're going to see. If not, though, it's not the end of the world because I think Cam Jurgens is very smart, and I think he'll be able to handle it.
I don't think there's going to be that big of a drop off between Jason Kelce and Cam Jurgens. It's crazy because Jason Kelce's a Hall of Famer, but everybody says in that locker room, if you talk to them, they believe Cam Jurgens is going to have a monster year.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Cam at all. Zero. Zander knows that. I've been saying that pretty consistently. I don't worry about him at all. That doesn't mean he's going to be an all-pro. That doesn't mean he's going to the Hall of Fame. I just said the Eagles had really good center play before. They're going to have really good center play now.
By the way,
that's how I would describe it.
By the way, John, should we get your reaction on when I talked to the rookies of who won the vote for who's going to be the best rookie this year?
Oh, we were talking about that yesterday. Yeah, and I do not agree with them. First of all, how is it not Quinyon Mitchell?
Well, I don't think they wanted to go easy on. A lot of them did say Quinyon, by the way.
Yeah, I mean it's easy. But they picked Will Shipley,
They
right?
picked Will Shipley. That was the winner.
First of all, Will's not even going to play. Quinyon's going to play every freaking snap. I mean,
They all love Quinyon, by the way. Every single one of them loves Quinyon.
Yeah. Now, I'll say this: if I tell you Cooper DeJean is probably going to be inactive on Friday night, agree or disagree, and how upset are you?
I'll say inactive, and Vic's Ray's not ready.
Very noticeable that John
think,
Dotson was taking backup punt return reps.
Oh, it was very noticeable there. He was with Britain, and by the way, Quinyon gave me the best answer on why he thinks this rookie class is going to be so special. And it's a typical Quinyon answer, but it was a great one. He said, "Confidence. We're all confident. Every single one of the guys in this room, we all believe we could play in this league."
Yeah, Slay's quote about Quinyon was great.
Oh my God. Yeah. Quinyon yesterday was just like, what?
Yeah, Quinyon doesn't know what he's talking about. Quinyon's locker's essentially right next to Slay's, and Slay was saying he was asked about if Q was ready, and he said he'd been ready since he stepped out of Mama, since he came out of Mama.
Was it the Mama or Mama? I couldn't.
I don't know.
Get
but
that
either
point.
way, you get the point. And Q's looking over, and somebody asked, Q's like, "What? What are you saying?" But anyway, yeah, Quinyon Mitchell's by far the Eagles' best rookie.
Oh, he is,
as he should be. And Will Shipley's behind Saquon Barkley and Kenny Gainwell.
Yeah,
not that Will Shipley's did. I mean, come on. I got to push back against these people.
Will did not
J-Mac, that warrants a signature. Stop it.
Yeah, exactly.
Will, by the way, Will did not vote for himself.
No, Will's a good guy. I don't expect him.
Yeah,
but my only point is he's not going to have the opportunity to be the Eagles' best rookie.
I think it was and I asked him why Will, and just some players said, "You saw him in college, right? You saw him in camp. The guy's a beast. The guy's going to make an impact this year." And I said, "Okay."
I don't know how. Are we expecting Saquon to get hurt?
Speaking of Saquon, Jeff, what do you think he's going to do on Friday night? I mean, you got Eric Wilson at linebacker. Is Saquon Barkley licking his chops for a big week 1 in Philly? Are we going to be giving away a Saquon Barkley jersey after the game on Friday?
What constitutes you giving away a Saquon Barkley jersey, Zander?
So the giveaway on JAKIB Sports, Jeff, that exists all season long for anybody in the chat. Every time Saquon Barkley eclipses 125 all-purpose yards, rushing
yards
and
from
receiving,
scrimmage,
yards from scrimmage.
Yeah, I was going to say all-purpose yards. That's
he's not returning kicks.
No,
but any yards that Saquon gets, if he does return a kick, I'm counting it. All right, so
all right,
yards
then it is all-purpose. Then it is all-purpose.
Anytime he eclipses that, we'll give away a jersey to one of our channel members. So will we be giving away a jersey come Monday morning?
I think we're going to see, and this is all year, I think we're going to see a lot of Saquon Barkley in the passing game. And I think Friday's an opportunity to kind of unleash him. But I think they're going to limit his touches earlier in the year.
Unleash the Kraken. I'm going to go. He gets 85 rushing, 33 receiving.
So just short, huh?
Just short.
As long as they win, no one's going to care, right?
John, you have him, 7 yards short? Is that where you have him?
I don't know.
No, he's got him 7. Exactly 7 on the dot.
7 yards short, right, of 125?
Yep. He has him at 118. Man. Unless he surprisingly returns a kick that we didn't see this week.
I'm making a prediction. JAKIB Sports, I will be ordering a Saquon jersey next week to give away to one of our channel members. That's my prediction. I think it's a Saquon feast day in week 1 here.
I don't know.
I think there's a feast day, but I don't think it's going to be Saquon.
Okay. I don't know,
Well,
man.
that's the
Eric
problem.
Wilson, you just said they're going to use Saquon in the passing game. What's Eric
Well,
Wilson
they
gonna
are,
cover?
but there's also one ball, and there's AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, Jahan Dotson,
Well,
Dallas
AJ
Goedert.
Brown's got who? Jair Alexander probably on him all. No, I'm not saying AJ's not going to get his fair share of yards, but
With motion, though, that could change.
that's true. Kellen Moore's adding that element to the offense. It's going to be interesting, man. I'm excited though. I think. What do you think Saquon does though this game, Jeff? You think he has a big game?
I think he'll make an impact. I think you're going to see a run or two, a big run or two. Look, and I tell people this all the time. You got to remember with running backs, they'll say, well, they only averaged this yards per carry. If you take away this run, I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm a bowler. If you have a big game, it affects your average, right? Like, I think we could see Saquon Barkley have a 30-yard run in this game. DeAndre Swift did that last year. And I think we could see a big play out of Saquon Barkley at some point in this game.
Keep in mind, he's the new shiny toy, and the Eagles like to play into their fan base a little bit.
They got a lot of new shiny toys.
Yeah, I know, but Saquon
they
like to selling jerseys and all that.
The Eagles are trying to get more Penn State people to like their football team. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, well, it's working with Jeff Kerr. I'll tell you that.
Well, for years, like the only Penn State guy that pretty much played for the Eagles was out of the league after like a year and a half, and that was Tony Hunt.
Yeah, Tony Hunt didn't work out.
Andy Reid tried to make him a fullback, and I'd never seen the guy just get annihilated by DeMarcus Ware and get Donovan McNabb killed as quick as Tony Hunt did.
Yeah, well, sometimes they don't all work. All plans don't all well, and that's it's interesting to me because the Packers, I think, made a mistake going with Josh Jacobs, and I think a lot of people look at Josh Jacobs and look at his 2022 season where Las Vegas just beat him into the ground,
and he was terrible last
year. And all of a sudden, can he have a bounce back season? I don't know. But, he's got, let me look it up. He's got about 1,500 touches in the NFL. He had.
I don't understand why Aaron Jones is still not a Packer.
I don't get that. That is crazy to me. Well, it's not crazy from the standpoint he's hurt a lot. So maybe they just got sick of that. But for how they play offense, he was the perfect fit. And I think you saw it in the playoffs last year when he single-handedly beat the Cowboys.
Yeah, they're kind of one-dimensional now with him and Marshawn
Lloyd. He's not nearly the receiver.
Yeah, no, they had a good duo with Aaron and AJ Dillon. That was a good combination.
Yeah, AJ Dillon's hurt, by the way.
Yeah,
so you don't.
So is Marshawn Lloyd. He might not play on Friday.
Yeah.
Well, you want him to play because he's going to fumble.
Yeah.
Aaron's where now? Aaron's in Minnesota with the Vikings.
That was a huge move for the Vikings. Shame what happened with them with JJ McCarthy because the Vikings were one of my sleeper teams until.
Yeah, they have a lot of skill. They have a lot of skill position talent, but they have no quarterbacks. So, that kind of.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the Packers cap situation is, but they did give $17 million to Zander.
About the injury. And he's going to turn 30, the typical running back stuff. Jacobs is only 26.
What kind of contract did Aaron Jones end up getting?
He got what?
Like $8 million?
Yeah, he got $8 million from the Vikings.
Plus incentives. I'd argue the Eagles should have got Aaron Jones. If you want somebody in the passing game, that's what the Eagles claim.
Well, you remember Aaron Jones was cut after they got Saquon.
Yeah, they made their decision and they were going in that direction. But I'm just saying, if the passing game, because they focus on the passing game, look, Aaron Jones is what people think Saquon Barkley is in the passing game. That's a guy who gets downfield, catches the football really well.
He's a good downhill runner too.
And he's a good runner. Yeah, but he is hurt a lot and he's older. So I get it from that perspective. But getting back to my Jacobs point, he's only 26. And obviously, the Packers think he can have a bounce back year. But a lot of people have no problem saying, well, that's a descending player. Whereas, Saquon's got that many touches. He's a little bit older. And everybody in Philadelphia seemed to say that's not a problem.
The Raiders said he's a descending player. They
Yeah.
tagged him and said, "You're not worth it. You were not worth what you got paid last year." And they're going with Samir White right now. The Raiders are in a rebuild. By the way, John, do we think Byron Young plays on Friday?
I don't know.
He don't know either. He said, "Look, I'm just knee deep in the playbook."
Yeah, well, I mean, look, a lot of guys, and I bring Jahan Dotson up here. It's, you're going to have a limited part of the package for Jahan Dotson. There's no way he could be up to speed to the point where I now think it's interesting. The Eagles have 2 elevations from the practice squad, and one of them's going to be Nick Gates.
I think Paris Campbell's the other.
Yeah, I think the other might be Paris Campbell. I was thinking it was going to be Jack Stoll, but Jack Stoll's hurt now.
Yeah, he was the only one that didn't practice yesterday, right? To our knowledge.
Well, Caden Stearns. But
I'm kind of Caden Stearns also has a locker in the middle of the locker room. So.
Well, he's on the practice squad, but Caden did say he's going to be back by week 5. So week 6 for the Eagles because they have their bye week. So,
right around when Sidney Brown said he's coming back.
Yeah, Sidney said he's coming back. Sidney could play right now. I'm convinced. They're
He's
just
sprinting.
being cautious.
He's sprinting right now.
Yeah. I had video of that. I gotta remind me to post that. Yeah, he's Sidney Brown looks 100%, but they're just being cautious. Yeah, so the Jacobs, though, I think that's a descending player. I think that's a mistake. I think that's a mistake. But Aaron Jones is, and I'm looking it up, he's 30. He's going to turn 30 in December.
Yeah, he's going to be 30 this year. I think that was why the Packers moved on.
He's got 18 receiving touchdowns.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, he is a great receiver if he's got anything left. But he is hurt a lot, so I get it from that perspective. But you're talking about a guy who averages 5 yards a carry, Aaron Jones. 5 yards a carry.
He's in the Nick Chubb territory. Nick Chubb averages 5 a carry.
45 rushing touchdowns, and then on top of it, 18 passing touchdowns. I mean, the problem is, though, he was hurt in 2021. He was hurt in 2023. He was hurt in 2018. So he's hurt a lot. But, man, when he's out there, he is tough to deal with.
He's a good – but by the way, John, I don't know if you were with me when I was talking to Byron Young. Ed Krause was with me, and he had some really good quotes about the Raiders and how that –
Oh, what a disaster that organization.
What a process that was. He said they didn't even tell him to bring his playbook. He said they just kind of got rid of him. And he said he was, and I phrased it where, were you blindsided by it? He goes, that's the word. I was blindsided. Never expected it. So
I wonder if the Raiders even have iPads, if they're telling people to bring their playbooks.
Yeah, exactly.
You would think they want the iPad back.
But I've never seen a guy who said so very little, but said so much. Like, he goes, I'm so determined to prove them wrong. Like, I want to be here. Like, and just show them you made a mistake. And it was great. It was, he's fired up. He said, I'm here to help Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter. I'm here to help these guys. Like, he loved Vic Fangio, loves the opportunity. But his agent, by the way, is Jalen Hurts' agent.
Yeah, Nicole Lynn.
Yeah, he said Nicole did a great job getting him set up here.
Yeah. Well, he's an Alabama guy. So
yeah.
I think Nicole might be Xander's agent. Who knows?
Yeah, she might be.
She does have a slew of. I think she's got Quinn Williams. She's got a bunch of Alabama guys. Jeff, if you're Vic Fangio, and you look at Jordan Love and you're watching his tape, he had 41-59 through the air last year, 32 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and a 96 rating. That's in his first year starting. What's your plan to slow this guy down this week?
Sorry, Zane, you broke up. Jordan? You're saying Jordan Love?
Yeah, Jordan Love, yep.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like you got to get pressure up the middle. That's what I personally feel. And look, what Jordan Love did in the postseason last year and at the end of last year, I mean, you could argue he was the best quarterback in football at the end of last year. That's how good he was.
He's a good player, man.
He's
got
a really good.
talent. Yeah.
He's a really good player. He's got, and you're right. There's a lot of talent around him, but I feel like a lot of young quarterbacks, and we learned this with Jalen last year. If you can send consistent pressure up the middle, I don't care how good you are. It's up to you to figure it out. And can Jordan Love? We know he can run outside the pocket. He's great at throwing outside the pocket, but can he handle a Jalen Carter coming up, or if Bryce Huff ever gets his act together, can he handle Bryce Huff coming off the edge? Josh Sweat's going to be feasting on Friday, so that's what I'm curious about, and I think that is the best way to kind of stop him in this offense.
Yeah, and I'm hoping he thinks he's got everything figured out, because that's the quickest way to get a downturn from a young quarterback, which I think you've seen it pretty consistently. When guys have a little bit of success, and really that's what happened to the Eagles, it's like, all right, well, let's just do what we've been doing. But, the adjustments may come slowly, but they come, and you got to be ready for them. And let's see if Jordan Love's going to be ready for him, because Vic Fangio is going to throw some stuff at him that he hasn't seen before. And yeah, we're going to see
that. By the way, I know you and I have talked about this, John. I don't feel like it's talked about enough around the league. That was one of the sneaky good hires this offseason, Vic Fangio.
Well, I don't know if it was sneaky. Everybody knew
around the league. Well, I mean, it's funny though when you talk to a lot of people, even people in the know. I even had one former NFL player say to me, "Oh yeah, that's right, they got Vic Fangio."
Yeah, I mean, Vic's good. Vic's a good coach. There's no debate about that. It's just a matter of how good he can get this particular group from where they were last year. And it's a low bar, so it's going to be better. But how much better? And I think it starts with the Quinyon Mitchell this week, and we'll see. I mean, he's very confident in Quinyon Mitchell, to the point it's like, because he's got a little bit of Jim Schwartz in him, that because I even asked him about Jalen Carter yesterday, and like everybody knows how talented Jalen Carter is. It's freaking obvious. And he's still, I'm trying to pull it up. He said, I think we'll get a better barometer of that after the game. I asked him, where he is, what stage, where you want him. And he said, I think played 3 plays in the opening preseason game. Practice is practice. I think I'll be better able to answer that in a couple weeks.
He knows.
He does know, but I'm trying to use that as he plays it cautious with everybody. Jim used to say, I don't give out gold stars, for doing your job. And he went about it that way. With Vic, it's about, if he doesn't give you the backhanded compliment, you're doing well. But then he was asked about Quinyon, about being on the field every play. Is he ready to handle that kind of responsibility? And he said yes to being on the field every play. And yes, he's able to handle that kind of responsibility. No couching, no nothing.
Yeah. Yes, and yes. Martin asked him that, right?
Yes. Martin asked him that. My point is, he's couching with the most talented guy he's got, Jalen Carter. But with Quinyon Mitchell, it's like, nope, no couching whatsoever. He's ready.
And you know what? I think Quinyon's ready just from hearing him yesterday. When he was asked about getting challenged by the Packers, he said, look, as long as I'm in position, we're good.
Yeah. But boy, they got a boatload of playmakers, Jeff.
Which one?
Christian Watson is the best. He's always hurt, but he's not hurt now.
Most reliable,
he's going to be out there.
The most reliable is Romeo Doubs.
Romeo Doubs is great. Jaden Reed is great.
Jaden Reed's the guy that's going to piss off a lot of Eagles fans on Friday night, I feel.
Bo Melton, even if you get down to Bo Melton, he made plays last year.
Bo Melton's
a Rutgers guy. Isn't he a Rutgers guy?
Yeah, he's a Rutgers guy. That's Max Melton's. Is it his brother or his cousin? They're related.
They are just And they're not big names like AJ and Devontae, but they are just boatload of
And Luke
playmakers.
Musgrave's a really good tight end. Tucker Crafts was a good tight end. Luke Musgrave is out. Like it's funny we talk about all this, and then see here's why the Eagles get a lot of hype, a lot of deserved hype for their offense because everybody knows their offensive line's good. I don't know if Green Bay's is good. In fact, I don't think they're good at all.
No, I agree. That's their weakness. Rashid, by the way, how can Andre Dillard not win that left tackle job?
Because he stinks. I know why. He stinks. He was the worst offensive tackle in football last year.
Fair enough.
And the
poor Andre Dillard.
But by the way, that's why I'm not just high on the 49ers. Unless Trent Williams came back in the last hour, he probably
did. He came back in the last hour.
Yeah. Breaking news: Trent Williams is reporting to the deal is not finalized, but he's on his way back to San Francisco.
Wow, big surprise there. Yeah, he didn't want to go.
I feel a lot better about the 49ers now with him and Colton McKevitz. But still,
that means just one player, guys, remains on holdout right now in the NFL. None other than Hassan Reddick.
And he ain't coming back.
Well, what's he going to do? Is he just going to sit out the season?
He might.
Yeah, I don't know what.
What does that get him? Do they have to pay him if he sits out like that?
No.
He's just going to forgo a year. A 30-year-old player is going to forgo a year of playing over $5 million. I'd take the 14, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on in Hassan's head.
Well, I never would take less than what I deserve. Let's just put it that way.
I'm surprised he's not back. I mean,
Jeff, you're going to sacrifice 14-5 with no other team in the league willing to give you what you want?
When I'm better than the guy making 23-24, yes.
Yeah, but that's not how the cookie crumbles sometimes, Jeff.
That is how the cookie crumbles. That's everybody else. No,
Josh Allen's like the 10th highest paid quarterback right now in the league. You don't see him bitching.
I get why
quarterbacks are different animals.
I get why Hassan Reddick has a chip on his shoulder, but because he has produced more than just about anybody. With the exception of Miles Garrett.
I'm telling you, if I, as someone who, again, this is a position I played, I know they don't value it like they should, but it would piss me off if I saw Bryce Huff making more money. It just would. He hasn't.
But you can make $22 million if you get your deal, which he's not getting. You can make $14.5 million, or you can make $0. You're telling me you'd choose $0?
If you're financially secure, you take $0.
I wouldn't.
And by the way, the Eagles would never have expected Hassan Reddick to play for less money than Bryce Huff. They knew that they were going to have to adjust Hassan's contract if he was going to come back, and they were going to put him above Bryce Huff, but they didn't want to go to the $25 million range.
It was kind of funny last week because I was defending Brandon Ayuk to the death, especially when John Lynch made the stupidest comment I ever heard a GM make. At some point, you got to play. Well, no, John, at some point, you got to pay. This guy's a 25-year-old.
It's very difficult for most people to walk away, even if you feel disrespected, to walk away from $14 million. But
it just felt like that was coming to a head at some point, and the Eagles just didn't want to deal with it.
Yeah, they got the hell out because they knew what was coming.
Yeah, they knew what was coming. They did. And you know what, Hassan?
But the Eagles would have been willing to go to 18-19.
Oh, and you know what? Honestly, John, he might have taken that because it was here. But he's not here anymore. It's not his hometown team.
Yeah, the Eagles went, hey, whoever wants it first. They wanted to rework Josh Sweat's deal. They would have reworked Hassan's deal. Whoever takes it first was going to stay, and the other one was going to go.
Hassan Reddick retweets a lot of my stats about him. There's a reason for it.
That's why Jeff Kerr is vouching. Look, I like the player. I see what you're saying. I'm just saying I wouldn't forgo a season as a 30-year-old edge rusher who's getting into that scary number in the NFL.
And you're right, Zander. That's why he's not paid. He's 30. That's the only reason why.
Well, and I got news. If you want to give Hassan some advice, if he's going to sit out a year and thinks he's coming back and getting more money, he's
Right.
nuts.
No, ask Le'Veon Bell.
That's playing into
Le'Veon.
my projection of I would play if I were Hassan. Jeff, because I don't think he's coming back and making up that lost money
See,
with the new
no.
deal.
This is
Never.
my personal opinion. This is why I think he's holding out, because I think he knows the Jets are a shit show and they're going to cave when they suck and they realize
think
they
the
can't
Jets
get
are a legit Super Bowl
Oh, I
contender.
think they are too,
I think
but
they're gonna be a good
we
team.
both know how this can go, John. If
Well,
they
if Aaron
start
Rodgers
out,
gets hurt again, they're screwed.
well, if
but-
they
Yeah,
start
done.
out slow and they can't get to the quarterback, that phone call's coming.
Boy, I know a bunch of Jets fans, and boy, they're a long-suffering fan base. But Jody's a big Jets fan.
John,
but,
is this a bold prediction because it's never happened? But my bold prediction is the Lions represent the Super Bowl in the NFC.
Oh no,
Wow.
I don't think it's bold at all.
But they never done it. That's the thing. There's a
They're a
theme
good
in there.
team, though. They're a good team.
Yeah, they're a really good team.
They're a very good team.
But by the way,
I don't want to pick. I haven't picked a Super Bowl. I got to do that at some point before this starts. I don't want to pick Kansas City. I'm thinking about picking the New York Jets. I'm seriously thinking about it.
That's bold too, but it's a legit pick.
I'm going Super Bowl 22 rematch. Eagles, Chiefs, Super Bowl contenders on each side.
If I see the Chiefs again, I'm going to throw up.
I can't pick against them. Every year I pick against.
Well, I don't blame you. But
that's
when he starts off slow last year, I'm like, oh yeah, the Chiefs don't have it this year, and then all of a sudden they're in the Super Bowl.
I get why you're doing it, but I just still want to see it. But I look at that. This is without Hassan Reddick. Without Hassan Reddick, they have Jermaine Johnson and Quentin Williams, and
Quincy Williams,
and Quincy Williams and C.J. Mosley, the best linebacker duo.
Oh, by the way, Sauce Gardner's there.
Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed's great. They got a good nickel corner and Michael. They're loaded on defense.
Can I put in my Penn State plug? Olu Flashnu is really, really good already.
Yeah, put in the Penn State plug. Well, who knows? Will McDonald didn't do anything, but maybe he takes off. Obviously, if they get Reddick back, and then watch out for Garrett Wilson if Aaron Rodgers is healthy, man.
Yeah, and Breece Hall.
John, you make a good point. That Jets team can be really good. Breece Hall, right?
Braden Allen was a really good pick. They had a good draft. They got Malachi Corley in that draft. They had some players.
Yeah, and remember they got Tyron Smith, aging but still a top tier.
They got is John Simpson there or is it Morgan Moses?
Tippmann's there. They got Barrett Tucker back from injury. Morgan Moses is there as well.
That's right. Morgan Moses is the Ravens player. John Simpson went to the Rams, I think.
Oh, I thought you said Tippmann. Tippmann's their
No. Yeah, I was thinking for some reason John Simpson went to the Jets. I'm like, no, I don't think that's right. But yeah, I know Morgan Moses went there.
They got good tight ends, Conklin, Rucker. They're loaded, man. They are loaded. If that old man can stay up,
quick. I'm going to ask you to do it, Jeff. We're not talking. I mean, I know it's Tuesday. You have the right to change your prediction. Follow Jeff, everybody. At Jeff
I'll probably change it tonight, by the way, when I do my show. So
you're here on Birds 365 at 9:15 a.m. Eastern time on Tuesday, September 3rd. What's your prediction for Friday night's Eagles-Packers game in Sao Paulo, Brazil?
When I did the schedule in May, I said the Eagles were going to lose. But I'm with John. I kind of see Eric Wilson. I see the Packers offensive line, and I'm just
Eric.
like, I'm just
good
like,
guy too. Good guy.
Yeah, I was just like, look, the Packers are good, but are we overhyping them a bit? Like, if this game was in Philly, I honestly think the Eagles will win by 10 points.
If this game were in Philly, I'd pick the Eagles pretty easily.
Yeah, I really don't know, Zander, because of this Brazil thing. It's the first ever game that you're opening a season in another country. I think it's going to be – I don't even think it's going to be who starts out the fastest. I think it's going to be who kind of gets
an all-day sucker.
The winner of the turnover pattern will win the game is what my projection would be.
Well, I can predict that every week.
Yeah, right. You can. That's true. But, I mean, to your point about being on the road, it's week one. Nobody's cylinders are firing. Nobody's firing on all cylinders yet. I think that's going to be even more important than it always is when teams are firing. It's going to be a good game, but Jeff, you got to get on the. You don't have to give me a score. Who's going to win the ball game?
I see Eric Wilson in the middle of the field. I see Packers offensive line. I think I kind of gave you who I think's
All
going
right,
to
you got the Eagles then.
Yeah, it better be N'Kobe Dean in the middle of the field for the Eagles defense.
Yeah, is that
Otherwise,
confirmed yet, John? Do we know?
no. Otherwise, you got your own Eric Wilson to worry about. But here's what Bick said. They're really tough to defend. They run it and throw it equally well. And you throw in an athletic quarterback, and it'll be an all-day sucker for the Eagles defense. It's a tough offense to deal with.
I'll say this, Zander. I'm not a betting man, but take the over, whatever the point spread is.
Yeah, I like that bet. Go on betus.com.pa, everybody, and take that bet. I'm with Jeff Kerr on that one. Jeff, thanks for joining the show, man. Great, as always, being here. NFL is here, baby. No more projection, no more off-season talk. We are officially in the run of the season, Jeff. Thanks for joining the show today, man.
Yeah, no problem, Zander. By the way, before I go, based on our CBS Sports expert, I think the Eagles are underrated because a lot of people are just not.
What was the CBS Sports rating?
So when we did the composite, the Eagles came in third, but 5 people picked the Eagles as overrated, and I'm like, well, no, you're just not seeing what I'm saying.
Well, they're looking at the coaching and all that.
That's what it is, yeah. But overall, I think they all admit the Eagles are really talented.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. No doubt about that. And for you, little inside baseball, they moved Nick Sirianni, if you didn't get the text, up to 11:35 if you're going down there.
I will not be there today. So,
right.
Yeah, I heard they were moving up yesterday.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, buddy. At Jeff Kerr CBS, make sure you follow Jeff on the X platform, which you can still do in this country, at least for the time being, unlike Brazil. And read them at cbssports.com.
That's going to be my story, my game preview. Will Martin Frank come home?
Yeah. We might have to negotiate that.
Okay, yeah. All right, Jeff. Thanks for joining, man. Great stuff as always. We'll talk to you next week after week 1, man. Going to be a fun weekend of games. Looking forward to it. We'll talk to you next week. All right, Jeff.
Yeah, it's a great slate this week. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of Eagles fans will be watching Cowboys Browns and Lions Rams on Sunday night.
Cowboys Browns. Yeah, that's a national game, right?
That's my upset of the week. I don't even think it's an upset.
Okay, I was about to ask you. I didn't want to guys do that. We've said goodbye. I don't want to. But is that your upset of the week, Browns?
That's my upset of the. I don't even call it an upset, but I think the Browns are going to beat them.
I don't know, man. I'm out on the whole Deshaun Watson thing, and
it's not even Deshaun Watson. They won in spite of Deshaun Watson last year.
Yeah, they need Joe Flacco back.
They got like 4 quarters. Oh no, I'm sorry. They got 3 now. They cut Tyler Huntley.
Yeah, which by the way, back to Baltimore. Perfect situation for Baltimore. That was the worst.
All you did was complain during the preseason game.
I couldn't believe it. I could not believe the ball. I said you cannot go into a season with this backup quarterback situation.
And they were right.
Josh Johnson.
Now they got a Pro Bowler backing them up again.
Yeah. So worked out well for the Ravens.
All right, Jeff. Good stuff, man. We'll talk to you next week.
See you guys.
See you, bud.
There's Jeff Kerr joining us on Birds 365. Good stuff from Jeff Kerr. Good insight today. Good preview of the Eagles versus Packers coming up in 3 days, everybody. The season is officially here. I want to welcome and thank everybody for being here. Big crowd here, Johnny Mack. You can tell the season is here, man. 750 people watching across our platforms, over 550 on YouTube. Make sure you guys smash that like button as it's the best thing you can do to help the show grow and reach more Eagles fans this football season. Reminder to everybody in the chat, that pinned comment at the top. We're going to be giving away Saquon Barkley jerseys all season long to our channel members. Every time he eclipses that 125 mark, we will give away a jersey to one channel member. So you must be a member to win. That link is in the description. It's $5 a month to join. So if you do it for the full season, it's 5 months. That's $25. It supports the channel, and you have a chance to win a Saquon Barkley jersey every week. And it does go a long way in helping support our channel, as I mentioned. So we'll take a quick commercial break here. Come back, and me and Johnny Mack have an open 40 minutes. I have a couple super chats, John, that I want to hit with you, and then we'll continue to preview and dive into this upcoming game here just 3 days away on Friday night. So are you looking for a new sports book this football season? Eagles fans, BetUS is the answer, and JAKIB Sports is proud to announce our new football partnership for the upcoming season. Right now, receive a 125% sign-up bonus, up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits. If it's good for Michael Vick, it's definitely good for JAKIB Sports. So go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. The link is in the description. So if you click the link, click that description below the video here on YouTube, you'll see the link there to go to BetUS. So go to betus.com.pa and sign up today. We're going to be taking those Saquon bets. I'll be back in 3 minutes, everybody.
Michael Vick at BetUS.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sports book and casino.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.